They told you vaping was safer than smoking, but they didn't tell you it was engineered to rewire your brain faster than nicotine ever could. You're not puffing clouds, you're feeding a system designed to control your dopamine. Welcome back to Planting Thoughts, the podcast where we dig deep into the big questions, explore today's trends, and most importantly, plant a seed for you to think about long after you've hit pause. I'm Mike. Today, we're diving into vaping unfiltered, the psychology, the addiction, and the health risks. Now, this one's got layers. Behind the clouds of cotton candy vapor is a multi-billion-dollar industry with serious marketing power. We'll examine the psychological black magic they use, and we'll tackle that crucial question, right? That one that everyone keeps asking. Is vaping actually safer than smoking? Plus, we'll look at the fast-growing, highly unpredictable market of synthetic THC vapes with names like THCP, THCH, Delta 8, Delta 10. But first, if you missed episode 21, I explored attachment styles, and I talked a lot with Dr. Alex about how I'm kind of messed up in the head. So if you missed that one, go back, check it out. It's sure to be a lot of fun. Look, before we start, this isn't just for the kids. This isn't just about us being fooled. If you are breathing air, these companies are trying to sell you something. We need to upgrade our defense system, right? Don't let your common sense devolve into mango-flavored cloud. Now let's light this one up with a wild number. The global e-cigarette market is projected to double by 2027. Double. That's a cloud of pure yacht-buying profit. So why is vaping so profitable? They use this thing called loss aversion, where they basically, tell you you're avoiding the loss of health, and price anchoring, making a $5 pod feel cheap compared to a $10 pack of cigarettes. Now you're thrilled with the deal, and then suddenly you're spending $80 a week, and the addiction is stronger than ever. The average US vapor spends $1,500 a year on this stuff. Stop smoking your vacation. That $1,500 is the difference between a sad staycation and finally seeing the beach. That money could be buying you something that doesn't damage your lungs. Get real. Get real, my friends. All right. Let's crack into the marketing mind games, right? Because psychological tricks in vape marketing are second to none, except for maybe actual smoking. Right? This stuff is actually truly fascinating. And it's completely evil. First, there's this thing called social proof, right? If all the cool kids are doing it on TikTok, it must be chill, right? The see it, try it effect is powerful, especially when combined with the marketing of color psychology. They are selling a damn gummy bear disguised as a USB stick. And the scarcity effect with the limited edition flavors, right? That's pure FOMO, making you feel like a collector instead of an addict. They also lean heavily on this thing called the halo effect. They brand vapes as clean or reduced harm, right? And a 2022 survey found that when vapes were framed this way, over half the participants said they were healthier or safe. The framing literally shifts perception, regardless of the real-world chemical cocktail. Now, do you want to know how powerful these companies are? They convinced an entire generation to inhale chemicals that taste like a discarded Skittle, all while making you feel like a rebellious health pioneer. They are playing you. They are playing you. They've perfected the art of selling poison with packaging that screams, "Treat yourself!" I mean, sometimes I treat myself. Now, let's tackle the question that launched this industry, right? Is vaping actually safer than traditional smoking? The mainstream public health consensus, particularly from groups like the UK's NHS, is that for established adult smokers who switch completely, it is substantially less harmful. Now, why? Because you eliminate the combustion, the fire, which produces the vast majority of carcinogens, tars, and carbon monoxide. This is their core argument. But here's what's new. There was a longitudinal research that showed popcorn lung. Vapes often contain this thing called diacetyl, right? Which is linked to the lung disease bronchitis obliterans. Popcorn lung. Now, while some regulated markets like the UK have banned it, US research shows its presence, sometimes at levels found in cigarette smoke, so inhaling these flavor chemicals is an entirely new risk factor. There's also cardiovascular risk. Newer longitudinal studies like the one from Johns Hopkins Medicine, right, the gold standard, baby, found that exclusive e-cigarette use was significantly linked to new cases of COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and possibly high blood pressure, even in the short term. While the effects are stronger for traditional cigarettes, they are not zero risk. The diacetyl deception, right? Diacetyl, that chemical linked to popcorn lung, it's actually found in cigarettes too, but the media only freaked out when it was found in vapes. So the danger was there all along, but we only noticed it when the packaging was too colorful. The bottom line is simple. Less harmful is a sales pitch, not a safety guarantee. If you are a non-smoker, you are not reducing harm. You are introducing it. You are accepting risks that smokers spent decades trying to eliminate. This isn't a health food. It's the lesser of two very, very bad evils. Now let's talk about the brain and the terrifying trend of addiction hardening. First, the standard issue, right? Nicotine is ranked as more addictive than cocaine. It harms the developing prefrontal cortex, which controls decision making. Kids, you're already really bad at this. Put down your vape. I don't need my Juul. Studies link adolescent nicotine use with increased risks of ADH-like symptoms. Now, the new data is even worse, right? I mean, this stuff is scary. A study published in JAMA Network Open shows that while overall teen vaping rates have declined since 2019, the kids who do continue to vape are showing signs of worsening addiction. The share of teen vapers who puff every day nearly doubled between 2020 and 2024, from 15% to almost 29%. The percentage of daily vapers who tried to quit but failed also doubled, rising from 28% to 53% in the same period. This is the definition of addiction hardening. The industry is evolving with high concentration nicotine salt devices designed to be less harsh but more addictive. I mean, let's be real. You see a teen vaping within 5 minutes of waking up. That's not a casual habit. That's a chemical hostage situation. They're literally addicted even before they can even decide what fruity lie they're going to inhale today. Now, let's look at the new Wild West of vaping, right? Cannabis products. This includes the surge in popularity of CBD, Delta 8, Delta 10, and the genuinely terrifying synthetic cannabinoids like THCP and THCH. Now, the benefits of legal Delta THC vapes are often immediate relief from anxiety or pain, and they are generally pretty regulated. The dangers with the synthetics, right? I mean, these are the novel cannabinoids, often derived from hemp and sold cheaply at convenience stores, right? The problem is simple: purity and potency. Unpredictable and severe toxicity. Peer-reviewed studies confirm these synthetics, which are 10 to 100 times more potent than natural THC, are associated with unpredictable and life-threatening effects. This includes psychosis, seizures, acute kidney failure, and severe cardiovascular complications like sudden cardiac death. The bath salts parallel. These synthetic cannabinoid drugs are chemically similar to other novel psychoactive substances, like synthetic cathinones, bath salts, which have a history of causing severe paranoia, aggressive, and extreme medical emergencies. I mean, I don't remember if you guys remember, but I remember some lady eating someone else's face in Florida because she had eaten some bath salts. Look, I don't know about you, but I'm not into the whole cannibal thing, right? We don't need to make this place a new episode of Yellow Jackets. We have decades of research on traditional tobacco and growing data on e-cigs. But for these synthetics, we've got almost nothing. Nothing. If you're using a product with a chemical name that sounds like a Wi-Fi password, THCH THCP, you are willingly participating in the unmonitored public health experiment. Stop buying chemicals from the gas station that look like they belong in a lab. Now let's zoom in on the financial and social costs. We have about 1.6 million US middle and high school students vaping. If this trend continues, the economic impact will skyrocket. A UCSF study estimated vaping already costs the US about $15 billion per year. In the medical expenses, $15 billion. That cost doesn't just hit the users, it hits all of us through higher health insurance premiums. All those fruity, fun puffs will translate into ER visits, hospital stays, and chronic illness for an entire generation. Now, what do we do about this? Education might be our best defense. Thanks, Planting Thoughts. We need to question what we're sold. This is where you realize your personal choice has a public consequence. If the most vulnerable, our kids, are being targeted by psychological warfare disguised as dessert, we have a moral obligation to push back, to educate, and to demand better regulation. Your wallet is your vote. Stop funding the companies that are actively making the problem worse. All right, guys, that's a wrap on today's episode of Planting Thoughts. If this episode gave you something to chew on, help us grow by following Planting Thoughts on Spotify and YouTube. Smash that like, drop a review, and share it, because honestly, we need to get the word out there. In my next episode, I'm going to dive into the world of why we are so addicted to horror, why we have some people out there who just love to fall in love with serial killers. We're going to hit all that crazy, spooky stuff. Why are humans such freaks on the next episode? Until next time, keep planting those thoughts, keep being kind, and stay away from watermelon puff. See ya.